Hello, everybody. Are you ready to talk about dinosaurs? Yeah. Woo! You may have seen some dinosaurs here at Microsoft Ignite this week. Either these ceramic ones right here on this stage or on the hub, or maybe you've seen dinosaurs on Twitter. I've been tweeting a lot this week. I received a tweet this morning. I got tagged in it, and it was someone that said, I see more dinosaurs in my Twitter timeline than I do Azure content. So then I didn't recognize the name, so I clicked through, and this guy works on the Azure team at Microsoft. First time, need the clicker. So I'm going to tell a story, and first, before I get to the dinosaurs, I got to talk about my career. I'm a software developer. I've been developing for 20 years. I love coding. Any type of imperative programming language I love. I've used C++, C#. I've worked on some really awesome things. Most recently, I wrote some code for Exchange. So anytime your emails get sent through Office 365, my code is involved in that, and I'm really proud of that. This is a picture of me at work. I bet you didn't know that when I walk into a Microsoft building on campus, I look like a dinosaur. But I really enjoy what I do. I really enjoy working at Microsoft. I think about my career a lot. I think about it in terms of 5-year plans. In 5 years, what do I want to be doing? Where is my goal? And what steps do I need to take in order to get there? It's a growth mindset. I need to grow. I do this every year, at least several times a year. And I, without fail, can always define my 5-year plan. In university, my 5-year plan was graduate, get a job, don't get fired. Right? And then I got into the industry. My 5-year plan was keep my job and maybe learn some new skills. In 2017, I went through this process, and I realized I do not know what my 5-year plan is. I had no idea. I couldn't picture where I would be in 5 years. I could have still been programming as a software developer, but it was a scary place to be. So I thought, I have to fix this, and the search begins. I had some ideas. First was teaching. I'm a full-time employee, but I also teach in the mornings as a volunteer. I teach high school, so we teach Snap as a language. It's basic stuff like variables and for loops. And then we get into things like programming games. We build Super Mario, and that was a lot of fun. But ultimately, there was too much of a risk to my career, to my family, and I was like, I can't really do that. I also thought, well, maybe I'll switch jobs within Microsoft. At any given point in time, there's several thousand positions open. But I really didn't have a goal. I didn't know where I would be going. So if I changed teams, it would just be change for the sake of change. I didn't want to do that. I would just cause more problems for myself. So then I decided, well, let me join Twitter. Let me connect with people and see what they're doing, get some ideas. And this is a mock-up because that account no longer exists because I'm a dinosaur on Twitter. I did what most folks do when you join Twitter. You followed some brands, some celebrities, used as a news aggregator. But then very quickly, I started connecting with folks within Microsoft and also in industry. One in particular, Ned Pyle. I think we all know Ned. Ned, in a good way, Ned is working at Microsoft for a long time. Awesome guy, and he would start tagging me into threads. And little did I know, I was getting tagged into Threadzillas. Now, what is a Threadzilla? Who has been in a Threadzilla on Twitter? Yes, many of us have. Oh, there's more hands than I thought. What is a Threadzilla? It's a thread in Twitter, but it has many, many replies on it. Maybe 3,000, 4,000, and your phone blows up with notifications. What do we talk about in Threadzilla? Really awesome stuff, like pizza and deep dish. And I put that as a separate bullet, because maybe that's not pizza. I love you, Ned. Hot dogs. How to pronounce GIF or GIF, or should we call it Rick? Show of hands, who pronounces it GIF? Who pronounces it GIF? One of you is wrong. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? When is the right time of the year to introduce pumpkin spice? I got some, yeah. Pineapple, yes, no, maybe. Puns and gifts, many, many gifts. Threadzillas can come from anywhere. You never know where they're going to come from. Take this tweet, for example. This resulted in a Threadzilla of over 4,000 replies. This is a photo of 2 hot dogs and a waffle iron. Switching gears. I consider myself a family guy. I'm married. My wife and I, we have 2 daughters. They are the best ever. I love them. One's an 11-year-old, one's a 4-year-old. Hi, girls. We craft a lot. We like art. And we draw, and we do things as a family. Right around this time of Threadzilla, my 11-year-old asks, hey, let's go paint. I say, okay. So we go to a local paint studio. It's one of those places where you grab the ceramic off of the shelf and you paint it. And I wasn't really sure what to paint. Oh, can I get a countdown on the timer? Wasn't really sure what to paint. But I remembered there was a recent Threadzilla. Actually, literally, I was sitting at this table, and I had notifications on my phone. And I remembered, oh, we need a mascot for Threadzilla. And we had been talking about it a few weeks ago, and I'd drawn this. And I think I was trying to go for a dinosaur, but it kind of looks like a duck. But I found something on the shelf that kind of looked like a dinosaur, and I painted Threddy. I posted a photo of Threddy on the recent Threadzilla I was on, and I got some laughs. I thought it would be funny for like 5 to 10 minutes. And then Ned says, now make a Rick version, which means make a GIF or a GIF, depending on how you pronounce it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to create a Twitter account of a dinosaur and post GIFs on it. And I didn't make one GIF. I made many, many GIFs. I had a GIF-making app on my phone. I made hundreds. And by the way, you can use these now in your favorite messaging application like Outlook or Teams or Twitter. If you search for Threddy, you'll find these things. And if you use Outlook and you send a Threddy GIF, I'm involved twice, because not only is it my GIF, I wrote the code in exchange. So I'm having fun. I'm tweeting about dinosaurs. Enter Carmen Crincoli. Carmen is another longtime Microsoft employee, another great guy. Carmen is planning a cross-country road trip in his van, wants to bring a dinosaur with him. And he's like, can I bring Threddy? I say, okay, sure, that's a great idea. But really in my head I was thinking, oh no, I was growing attached to this ceramic dinosaur. And not only me, my daughters were too. My daughters were like, no, Threddy's part of the family. He's like our brother. You can't send Threddy out across the US. I wasn't sure what to do, but I wanted to do it anyway. So I went back to the paint studio, and I painted 2 more. I'm like, I'm going to paint stunt doubles. So I give one to Carmen. I actually snuck into his office. I placed it on his desk. And Carmen named the dinosaur Rhodey. And what followed was the most epic cross-country road trip in a van with a human and a dinosaur. They were, for a week and a half, they drove across country. They were all over the place. They went to an actual real pizza place in New Jersey, because Seattle doesn't know what it's doing with pizza. But it was amazing. He was posting photos. We were having fun. It was just more Threadzilla. But if you remember, there were 2 dinosaurs in that photo. And another person asked, hey, can I have a dinosaur? I said, sure. This was Ann Johnson. And Ann Johnson says, she leads up cybersecurity at Microsoft. And so I gave the other dinosaur to Ann. And also, what followed was another epic journey with a human and a dinosaur. Ann brings the dinosaur to customer sites. Ann brings the dinosaur on a stage. Actually, if you watched Ann's keynote this week, Cyber the dinosaur wasn't on stage, but was working the controls at the podium. So we're having fun. There's now 3 dinosaurs. And I'm still tweeting about dinosaurs. All right, now at this point, people are catching on. And they're like, this is cool. I want to do this. Can I have a dinosaur? And I wasn't going to say no, we're having fun. So I went back to the paint studio, and I painted more dinosaurs. There's a lot of them, and I couldn't squeeze them all into one slide. But let's see, we have Preppy, Robo, Grace, Dundee. Dundee, where's Sonia? I don't know if Sonia's here, but Dundee got left at a speaker podium today. We almost lost Dundee. This is Casey Lemson in the bottom left. Casey is also another longtime Microsoft employee, originator of the Ninja Cat, originator of the Bedlam card game. The Microsoft blog did a great article on Casey in the beginning of 2018, I think. And in one of the photos, if you notice, there's a little gray ceramic dinosaur sitting next to Casey. That dinosaur is named Thessi, short for thesaurus, because Casey's really good with words. This was also the first time, I think, that a ceramic dinosaur snuck into an official Microsoft publication without Microsoft knowing it. So because there's a lot of dinosaurs, I want to have one more slide here. We have Tealzilla there on the left, and Sunny. Who else is there? I see Rudy. But the bottom, these are mine at home. I have 10 dinosaurs at home. A few of them I painted for me. A few of them my daughter painted. A few of them I painted intending to give them to people. But my daughters grew attached to them, so we had to keep them. Now, painting ceramic dinosaurs takes time. I go in, it takes an hour. I actually have a day job. I actually go to work and write code. I can't be spending time in a studio all day. So I had to think of ideas to grow this, and because more people are asking, oh, we want to be part of the dinosaurs. I thought, okay, I need to do other things besides ceramic dinosaurs. I had some ideas. Stickers. We made some stickers. Also some T-shirts. I see some T-shirts in the crowd. That's awesome. Pins, which I hope most of you got walking in, and a comic, which I absolutely love. This is my way to low-key complain about working at Microsoft. I love working there, but it's work. So besides me finding ways to share this dinosaur fun with folks, others jumped in, which was amazing. I wasn't expecting it, but people kind of jumped on. People painted their own dinosaurs. Top left is Tyra Dox, who is a patron dinosaur of technical writers. If you ever say it's on premise, you'll get an angrily worded GIF from her. We have Query, top right, and Sandy, bottom left, and then a whole bunch of them that Russ Rogers painted recently. This was a fun project. El Jefe, I don't know any of this. I don't know how this works. El Jefe goes to Hacker Summer Camp every year, and they do this thing called badges. Does anyone know how badges work? Any Hacker Summer Camp fans? Okay, so you don't know either. But these are cool. We have a pin for Tealzilla, which there might be some left. I don't know. If you go to the Humans of IT booth. There was also a 3D model made, which I thought was awesome. Eric Kratzer, Lori Kratzer, they scanned one of the dinosaurs, and they made 3D models. And actually, Peter Lorre printed out 100 of them, and I think hopefully you got some of those. Now, these have all been really awesome things, and it's a lot of fun, and I will continue doing it, but I actually also learned some things. I considered calling this section the stuff that Rob is bad at. These are things that I've learned about myself. I kind of want to go through them. First is about hobbies. I consider the dinosaurs and Threddy as a side hustle. It's a hobby. It's not the first one I've had. I was big into music for a while. I played guitar. I also was into photography. This is a photo of me playing guitar. I also look like a dinosaur when I'm playing guitar. But I have this pattern of behavior. Whenever I get into a hobby, my curve of enthusiasm looks like this, right? Time across the bottom, enthusiasm on the y-axis, and I get really into it, and I spend every waking moment thinking about this hobby, and then one moment I wake up, and I just don't want to do it anymore. And it's kind of sad, right? It happened with taking photography. I actually took over 50,000 images, and then I just haven't picked up a camera in a while. So I am very conscious about this not happening with us. And because there are moments when these types of things happen, right? Early on when I was painting, I had a very long list of people that wanted dinosaurs, and I love that, but it was becoming a little overwhelming. And the technique that I've kind of used to get through that burnout is just kind of mixing it up, doing different things. Try doing stickers one month, doing pins another month, doing comics, going dark. I was on a business trip to Shanghai for 9 days in September, and I just didn't bring my account with me, although I was tweeting from a secondary raccoon account. Which I haven't even mentioned yet, have I? I'm also not very good at initiating interactions with people. I can't make a phone call and say, hey, let's go for a coffee, or let's have a meeting. And early on during this process, folks were saying, hey, could we get some stickers, or could we get some pins? Now, Microsoft is a big place. We have 50 plus some odd buildings on main campus. And I'll be like, sure, I'll deliver them, but I struggle to be like, oh, let's go get coffee. So instead, what I did, I devised this plan. Every building has a mailroom. You see the mailroom on the right side there. And I would kind of sneak into buildings with pins and stickers, and I'd place them in the mailboxes. And then afterward, I would I would email the person. Many people liked this. They thought, oh, the dinosaur fairy visited and brought gifts. But some folks were like, oh, I kind of wished you just came over and said hi. And in retrospect, I kind of wish I did also. But luckily, for people like me, there are other people that can help introverts get together. For example, the pancake lunch, right? Tasha Scott created this thing at Microsoft. Tasha Scott, another longtime Microsoft employee. Woo! Yes, Tasha. Tasha did this thing where we all get together once a month, and we eat pancakes, and we talk about things. And at first, for me, it was very awkward. I was going to talk with folks that I had never met before, and I would bring a dinosaur, and I'd walk into the cafe and put the dinosaur on the table down and be like, this is not weird at all. And we'd chat, but after the first few months, it got really amazing for me. Like, we were having great conversations, we would have fun, we'd joke about things, we'd also support each other, we'd talk about struggles we're going through, and just lift each other up. There's that saying about never eat lunch alone. I spent 20 years of my life, if you remember that photo in the beginning, sitting at the desk, slinging code. I had never done this, and now that Tasha did this, I think it's great. Thank you, Tasha. Over-compartmentalization. When I'm at work, I work. When I'm at home, I'm home. The two, for me, never mix. And my wife even says it. She says, do you even go anywhere and do things because you never talk about them? And so that's true for me at work. For the first year I was a dinosaur, none of my coworkers knew. Folks within Microsoft knew, that were on Twitter that knew me, but my immediate team didn't know. And I realized one day they're going to find out, because there's going to be a moment where they're watching something like an Ignite conference, and they might have some questions about the dinosaurs. So I realized I had to kind of figure out a way to tell them, but I couldn't figure out a way. I am very, it's interesting, I'm from New York, and then I moved to Seattle. New York is very direct from a communication perspective. Seattle could be passive-aggressive. But for me, I'm kind of passive-aggressive, and Seattle's like a warm hug in that respect. So instead of telling my team and my manager directly about this, I instead chose a series of increasingly passive-aggressive nonverbal signals that I was hoping they would catch up on. And they did not. Like, first, I put my dinosaur stickers on my desk. I left them there for a few days. And I was like, oh, are they going to notice? And nobody noticed. And then I put a few ceramic dinosaurs on my desk. And still, nobody noticed. And then I started with the T-shirts. I've got like 20 different Threddy T-shirts in my closet that's way longer than a laundry cycle, so I could wear one every day. I literally wore a Threddy t-shirt every day for like a month. And still, nobody said anything. So I was thinking one of two things was happening. Either my coworkers are so focused on their work, they just haven't noticed. Or they've noticed, and they're worried, and they don't know what to say. So finally, I told them. First, I had a one-on-one with my manager. And I said, hey, guess what? I'm giving a talk at Microsoft Ignite. I'm really excited. And he says, oh, that's great. Really? Because we're not really a team that does that. What is it about? I said, it's about dinosaurs. And he was like, oh. That's not the word I thought you were going to say. And then I had to tell my team, we're in a scrum meeting, a stand-up meeting. We're all talking about what we're working on. One by one, each person says, yeah, I'm working on this feature. I'm working on this bug. And they get to me, and I say, oh, yeah, I fixed this bug. I'm working on this feature. And by the way, I'm going to Microsoft Ignite, and I'm going to talk about dinosaurs. And they all were like, OK. But now, it's great. I can walk in. They put up with more than enough of my dinosaur stuff. My team's great. Hello, team. I do not like being the center of attention, says the guy standing in the front of the room. Actually, this is my very first time doing a conference talk ever. Thank you. I appreciate that. But this is the second time I've stood on the stage. A couple nights ago, nobody was in the room. I snuck on the stage. I walked over here. I wanted to see what it looked like. And I was like, whoa. And I jumped off, and I ran out. But there was another event in the Threadiverse that helped me relearn this about myself. And it's related to this guy right here. Yeah. So Microsoft employees know who this is. I hope you know who it is. If you don't, you weren't watching your training well enough. This is a little bit of inside baseball for Microsoft. Let me catch everybody up. The guy on the right, his name is Nelson. It's not his real name. That's his character name. Every year at Microsoft, we have to take annual training. And it's training around compliance, dealing with customer data, harassment in the workplace. And the training is great. They're videos, and they're like Netflix quality videos. They hire actors. They hire a production team. You go to the set, there's 50 people on set. But there's one exception. They let one Microsoft employee do one line as a cameo. And the way they choose this person is through an auction. Through the month of October, people can try and donate money. And the more you donate, the better chance you have. If you donate the most, you win the bid and you get the cameo. So a friend of the dinosaurs, Julie Hubschman, emails a bunch of dinosaur people and says, let's get the ceramic dinosaurs into the internal training. So another employee, Ralph Squilacci, says, all right, and he bids, and this thing's rolling. And now we still have 3 weeks before it ends, and people are throwing money together, throwing money into the pot. I think the first few days we had like $2,000 donated to charity. The last day, October 31st, 5 p.m., the auction's over, we win. Our bid was over $6,000. Yes. We bid $6,000, and we gave it to charity so we could put ceramic dinosaurs into a training video. And I think, oh no. I did not expect us to win this thing. I have to be on camera. And this feeling of, was exacerbated that day when we went, because they invited us, and we went to the set. It's a set. Right? It's in a Microsoft building, but it's a set. There's a production team, and I'm sitting in the corner of the room. I'm watching this whole thing happen in front of me. There's directors, there's actors, everything happening. And they say action. The actors start talking, and I realize everyone in the room, all 60 people, are watching those two actors. I'm like, oh no, in a little while, they're going to be watching me. Screw up. But it worked out. I did my one line. It took 9 takes. They told me those 9 takes were not because of me. I think I know better. And I have a few slides here just to show it because it's amazing. In season 2, yes, there are seasons. In season 2, there was a cliffhanger. We weren't sure if Nelson was going to get fired because he did some bad things with customer data. He's a lovable guy, but he's a knucklehead. So he did some bad things with customer data, and we think he might get fired. And this is the opening scene. The elevator doors open. We see Nelson. He looks nervous. Oh no, he might get fired. There's a security guard behind him looking sternly at him. And there's a ceramic dinosaur in the front smiling. So here's me and my one line. Turns out at that very moment, Nelson was not getting fired, which was good. There's one more scene I want to show. Scott Hanselman was also in it. Nelson happened to be on stage. Scott was in the crowd. And at this moment, Scott was asking Nelson, why have you not been fired yet? But if you see, there's actually a Threddy t-shirt in the top right there, worn by Laura Hunter. Actually, the same one on right now. And also, I see a light blue shirt there. It's Myra Wenzel. The producers were great. They, every scene, we were only supposed to get one line, but they put us in every scene. I got to be there 2 days. There was a ceramic dinosaur in the background of like 6 different scenes. And we did this thing where if you could find all of them, you know, you get a special prize. But really, that was wonderful. All right, where does that leave me today? Well, as far as the dinosaurs go, I am more excited about this project than ever. I have a lot of enthusiasm around it. I think it's amazing. And there's no problems around it continuing. And I just want to thank you all because I derive a lot of joy from this, and I'm glad you like it. But if you remember, it started with a 5-year plan. What was your 5-year plan? Now, I've had 2 years to think about this. Ask me today, what is your 5-year plan? I still don't know. I still don't know. But that's okay, though, because for a few reasons. First, I've gained some tools. I've learned a lot about myself. I'm now part of this really fun project that I love so much. But really, the most important thing is community. I want to talk a bit about the pre-day, the diversity and inclusion pre-day, which I think Shona and Haley and the rest of the crew should be given a round of applause for. It was amazing. It was in this room. It was a good crowd. There was a lot of conversational safety. There was a lot of personal stories talked about, not only on the stage here, but also on the crowd. We talked about difficult topics. We talked about racism. We talked about women having struggles in the workplace. We talked about gender, anxiety. All those things were important. And I'll be honest, I struggled with whether or not my talk fit into that. But besides the struggles that we talked about that day, there was this solution that kept popping up. It was besides struggles, we would try and figure out tips and tricks for individuals to cope through those types of situations. There was this thing that kept being mentioned, community. Find somebody that's going through what you're going through. Talk to them about it. I wasn't sure that I would need community. When I started, for 20 years, I didn't have it. But I was sitting there in this pre-day, and it crystallized. I realized, oh no, this story that I'm telling is my personal story about finding community. I found my people. And it helps me to share things. You know, I want to talk about a few things that I have shared. I don't know if you know, I'm a 9/11 survivor. I worked in Tower 1. I've never talked about that. Until I got onto Twitter and started sharing my story. And I would talk to folks, and they would talk to me back, and we would connect. It would make me feel better. Even just the action of getting it out into the universe makes you feel better. I've also never spoken before. This is my first time. I mentioned that before. I spent the entire year really nervous about it. I was kind of a nervous wreck. And I really didn't talk to anybody about it. And then finally, a few weeks ago, I thought, maybe I should start asking people questions. And that's what I did. I started asking questions, and we have this internal Teams chat. I was asking questions about, well, what is this clicker thingy, and how do you do PowerPoint, and what's a stage? And this guy, Rick Claus, was very great, and he answered my questions very patiently. I thought he wanted to throw me out a window, but in the end, he gave me answers. I mean, these are concrete examples of how community helped me. I didn't think I needed that, but now that I have it, I couldn't imagine living without it. Folks, that is my talk. I thank you very much. So, I have some time if anyone has questions about dinosaurs or other things. Don't. We have 2 mics. No? Yes.
So hi, I'm Doug Winnie. Good to see you again, Rob. One thing that I wanted to get your perspective on. So I was at Microsoft for about 7 years, and I was laid off in February. And one of the things that, for me, was a really hard thing was recognizing that community goes beyond the building. For anyone that works somewhere where they identify so strongly with their employer and where they work and what they do, that this is way more important, and this will persist beyond that. For you, especially moving from New York to Seattle and all the adjustments that has involves, how does this community persist beyond where you're going to go in whatever your 5-year plan is?
This community?
Yes.
Like, are you talking about the dinosaurs in Twitter, or?
Could be. It could be whatever the community grows as a result of that.
I'm not sure. I can never envision not being a part of this community. And no matter where I go, no matter where it goes. I think the connections I made in the past 2 years, I feel like they're life connections. I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Thanks.
Thanks, Doug. I love your shirt. Will you warm up the mic?
La la la. There I am. Hi. So not a question, but just for the benefit of the audience, because you are incredibly unassuming and humble, and we love that about you. The Standards of Business Conduct auction.
Yes.
We didn't raise $6,000. We raised $9,000.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I didn't realize that. Thank you. Any more? Hi, yes.
Hey, Rob. In 2016, I left Microsoft, and one of the things I missed most was the Twitter information I heard about the Standards of Business Conduct training. That was amazing. If you didn't work at Microsoft, you couldn't take or view or participate in. This May, I came back to Microsoft as a Surface specialist, and I was able to watch that. I knew there was this green dinosaur thing happening Twitter, and I had no idea who the green dinosaur actually was. So thank you for introducing yourself in the other room earlier. But just wondered how you think of community and things like the MVP program, the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, and how to tie into those different communities that are external to Microsoft, not necessarily internal to Microsoft.
I actually don't have a lot of visibility to the MVP community, but I think as far as the community I'm part of, it's both external and internal. I think that it should be that way. And personally, when I'm dealing with my interactions with folks, no matter who they are, there aren't special rules whether or not you work in Microsoft or outside of Microsoft. Yeah, I'm not sure about the MVP stuff, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I do have a question. So when I first came across you on Twitter,
Yeah.
I really wanted to know who was the person behind Threddy.
Yeah.
And it took a while. It took a lot of internet sleuthing to figure out who was the human behind Threddy.
Yeah.
At some point, you did reveal yourself. So I'm curious, like, at what point did you decide, I'm going to be Rob, and I'm not, well, how did you decide that Threddy is no longer just a ceramic dinosaur, it's actually an extension of you?
I think at first year and a half even, I was just a ceramic dinosaur, and it wasn't me. And I would talk about work type things, but it was never me. But then I was thinking a lot about this conference, and I realized, oh, I'm going to be on camera, and it's going to be me. So I have to get used to that. So I actually kind of tried to push myself a bit of going on Instagram, do selfies, and those kinds of things. And that's helped get me there. I actually, I'm like a pendulum. Sometimes I'm more out there as me, and then sometimes I'm more out there as a dinosaur. It's kind of a mix. And sometimes I'm a raccoon. Thanks.
But does that make you feel like you have a split personality in a way?
Um,
Are they all you? Are they
Yes.
all you? Okay.
So I will say this. Threddy started as me,
Okay.
as my personality. Threddy, the raccoon, for those of you, I didn't introduce Threddy. Threddy was like the opposite of me. It was like they were like two extremes. But the thing is about Threddy, I kind of wanted to move away from that a little bit. So I almost use both of those personalities to kind of be both those things and meet more in the middle. Cool. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. I love the questions. I love them.
Not really a question too, but I just wanted to say that, how this all started with Ignite was I met Threddy only after asking my coworker Anna. I was like, who is this Threddy? Like, I need to know who this dinosaur thing is. And then we got connected. And it started with Threddy, we need to get you out there. We need to make sure everybody knows about this. And then he starts with can I get an Ignite pass, which I get 1,000 over. And we're like, we'll find a way to bring you in. And yeah, and it's so great to see this room being filled, because when we're talking about empowering communities, I think we can all agree that Rob here has created an amazing community.
Thank you.
Yes. And it takes a lot of courage to stand up there. And, this is his first time. And I mean, it's kind of throwing him in the deep end. At night at a massive room like this.
I start small, right?
And you did great. So I just want to make sure everybody gives Rob the recognition for being so brave and sharing your stories. I'm sure there's way more stories.
Oh, yeah.
We can get
We'll do
into.
the next 45.
Come back to Ignite 2020. We'll plan it all in. But again, amazing community builder, and let's just celebrate Rob. Yay!
Thank you. All right, if there are no more questions. Oh, you do? Oh. Wait. Let me sit down for this one.
It's not a question.
What's that?
I'm not asking a question. I'm making a statement.
Okay.
Deep dish is pizza.
I mean, deep dish is tasty. It's delicious. But pizza, I don't know. It's a casserole. It's a lasagna. All right, we have another question or comment?
No, Ned, you forgot something.
All right, folks, that is my time. Thank you very much for coming.